Hi, my name is Adrienne Randolph, and I am the founder and executive director of the Brain Lab at Kennesaw State University. And I was inspired into work with brain-computer interfaces from Georgia Tech's own Melody Moore Jackson. And just pleased, in my last year of dissertating, I was able to be a visiting researcher. And so happy to be part of the family here. Thank you so much. Today I'm just going to share a bit about how we can use our brain waves to control a technology that you may have heard about or may have seen on the gentleman that first presented this afternoon, Google Glass. Yes, Google Glass. Perhaps some of you have fond memories of this. We have some amazingly wonderful targeted applications, though, for Google Glass. And in this case, being able to help individuals who are living locked into their bodies be able to communicate with this mobile computing device. There are individuals that are completely paralyzed and unable to speak, but cognitively intact, meaning they can think, hear, feel, smell, all that's going on around them, but are relying on someone external to come to them and help them with their comfort and care needs. So it's our desires to help provide them a proactive means of engagement with their environment. And not only that, their environment is filled with life-saving devices already. So Google Glass is an opportunity to have a lightweight mobile computing platform that's not rolled in a suitcase and allow them to be able to communicate with their caregivers and loved ones. There's about 50,000 folks that are living in this state of locked in, and it may be due to stroke. For example, 7,900 folks each year are in a state where they've experienced a hemorrhage, and unfortunately it's so severe that they are in fact completely paralyzed. The unfortunate parts about this is they also may not recover from such a hemorrhage, but still be in there. So we want to give them an opportunity to, again, be able to interact with those that they love and receive the care that they desire at the point at which they desire. Some other unfortunate statistics. If you become locked in, amazingly, it's your family members that discover this first, not necessarily the medical providers. So your loved one that's spending time might notice, oh my goodness, this person has actually responded to something that I said, something that is very subtle that they notice. Well, being able to then give them a proactive means for communication is where we step in. Now this last bit, this out of care pocket expenses. Well, we know that there are complications and still things that are being reformed around our providership and technology that's available. There's certainly some complications around, is it a laptop for medical use, or are you going to get on email and play games? In this case, this is a small computer that we're talking about, placing on someone's face and allowing them to be able to interact in this more confined space, but also let a care provider be able to interact as well with this technology. It comes in at a lot lower cost point than a lot of the brain-computer interface technology that's available now. So what do we have right now in the field? I mentioned the suitcase that I roll in with, and literally I do. It has a monitor, it has a laptop, it has what's called a bioamplifier, something that is used to boost the signal for this tiny voltage that's traveling from your brain through layers of tissue and blood to get to the surface where I'm reading it, because I'm not doing brain surgery, although certainly we know there are folks that are qualified to do that. In this case, surface electrodes being used to read your brain waves, and in this case, connect to a computer or device. Well, right now there's breathing machine or their own television, things that are there for comfort. And there's not space for me to set up shop with all of this stuff in my package. So instead, I'd love to be able to place the computer right in the space that's not already being occupied. This state-of-the-art comes in at about $8,000 at its low point if we're talking about a gold standard bioamplifier being used to read brain waves and connect to the computing system. A consumer-grade device is a couple of $100s, but right now that's not the resolution needed for being able to communicate and control one's environment at this level. Fortunately, evolution of technology brought us new options, things like Google Glass. So to quickly refresh you, it is like wearing a computer on your face. You can see the monitor about 8 feet in front of you. And the way that you traditionally control Google Glass is through a touchpad on the side, nodding your head, or some voice commands. But those are all based on voluntary, physical-based input. So again, someone who doesn't have that option, we need to look internally. The paradigm that we're using is something called P300. It's an aha response that you have in your brain. So something odd being presented or the picture of your grandmother being shown to you, you recognize it, and about 300 milliseconds later, we can see that response. The way that we harness this is perhaps through a randomization of characters being displayed to you. Those characters could be images, icons, whatever we want to overlay. What you see on the screen is a traditional speller, where there's a matrix of characters that the person is focused on the letter that they want, and when the letter is highlighted versus the other letters being highlighted, their brain has a response that we're listening for. We average against that and see, oh, that in fact is what you intend to select. So we use that paradigm to provide input to Glass. If you all were to try this yourselves, I would say focus on the letter I to complete BCI for brain-computer interface. And when the I, the row or column flashes, about 300 milliseconds later, you're having a response. Versus the other rows or columns that don't contain your desired letter. And it's amazing that our brains can make that distinction. So right now, we have this in a modularized fashion where we're using a wired-in electrode cap that is reading those brainwaves from the surface into a bioamplifier and a server running to make these interpretations for your P300 signal and provide that input to Google Glass. Likewise, seeing what is being displayed to the individual on Glass and what is being selected, fed back. So for my systems-minded folks, we're running the server and through JavaScript, being able to set up this platform and send signals from Glass to our computer. The neat thing about it is that aha response requires no training. You either have it or you don't have it. And we're able to use that as input that someone can then map to a left-right swiping command, or we can overlay more rich control so that we don't have to put all of the onus on the person that's doing the control. The other neat thing is we can personalize this to the individual. This is all based on an Android platform, which is much more forgiving for development and is revealed to the caregiver as well. We don't expect that the mother is going to be a super high-tech person, but she probably has a smartphone and understands how to pull up an application. Well, this is how she can also give support to the person that is using this device, because Google Glass also streams to a connected phone or other device. So we're at the stage right now where you saw that in that picture, it is in modules and it is wired in. It is our desire that we are going to onboard this to Google Glass directly because it is a small computer and it is capable of processing the algorithms needed for reading and filtering your brainwaves. So we're excited that we can fully encapsulate that onto truly this small computer that can be placed right in the field of vision for that person. Hopefully we'll see this realization soon and be able to partner with folks, for example, our Shepherd Center locally or our neurologists and various medical teams, because it's interesting to see there are clinical applications, but for those that still need an opportunity to be locked in or don't respond to treatment, Google Glass does offer an opportunity to be unlocked. Thank you.